Hey guys, today I'm going to be editing a photo with you guys on Procreate. I've already recreated the photo we'll be editing today and it's already in Procreate. I'm on my iPad. I'm going to be drawing Willifer, my new Shire from the winter update that they released. I asked on my Instagram for the next horse you guys wanted me to do an edit of, and you guys asked for Willifer. Today I'm going to be using brushes on Procreate from brush packs I use all the time. I use brush packs from Ruby Discocloud, Haze Long, and Nova Southlight. These are my favorite brush packs. I'll link them in the description. I'm not going to be going into detail on the brush packs I'm using. However, if you would like a separate video of me showing you guys the brush packs I have on my iPad, the ones I use for Procreate, I can do that and what I use them for. Let's get started on editing this photo. Okay, the first thing I did is I created a new layer and I started on the main base. If you watched any of my other Procreate edit with me videos, this is the hardest part to me, just deciding like what shape of mane you want or tail, depending on what you're editing. Today it's just horse, so it's actually a pretty simple, easy edit today. And the base is gonna look ugly. Don't click out. The final product will look much better. I just wanted the horse to have long, drapey hair, and like I wanted it to look like part of the mane is going to the opposite side and part of it is on this side. And now that I'm looking at this edit, there are little I used a background remover to get this photo in this background, and there's still like remnants of the previous backgrounds under the horse's leg. You can see in front of the front legs. I'm gonna fix that, but I don't fix it in this video, so if you're triggered, I'll fix it right now after I finish recording this voiceover. Okay, next I went into Nova Southlight's hair pack and I picked one of the braid styles. I drew the braid and now I'm kind of centering it on the horse's forelock. I made the braid darker so it would show up so I can edit over it, and then I was trying to decide how I wanted the braid to end, so here's me attempting to figure out how to make it look good at the end. And eventually I figured it out. Okay, now I'm creating a braid on the tail. At first I thought I wanted a braid on the tail, but then later I decided I didn't want it. Okay, now I'm going in and making the tail shape. It's easier to do manes because honestly you can just put braids on the horse and then create whatever mane shape you want. For the tail you kind of have to cover the old tail, or you have to like draw in with the background, which I'm way too lazy to do that. Okay, and then I'm just kind of making it blend in well to make it look more natural and erasing any parts of the tail that like went outside the lines. Then I made a new layer and I was really persistent. I really wanted a braid in the tail and none of them looked good. See, I'm showing you guys the real raw footage. I'm not deleting the parts where I messed up. I'm just going to show it to you because you can see it's a process. Letting the creative juices flow. You got to try new things, you know, and some of your ideas don't work out like this. You'll see later why I made the braids black because they don't show up so I can't see them very well. Then I went and made a new layer and I put a black background behind the braids, and then I could make the braids white so I could edit them better. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, then I used one of the colors from the horse's coat to add more layers to the mane, and I used the brush called Angel just to add some dimension over the base. And then I started adding in those details in the mane, the parts of the mane that are supposed to be folded over towards the other side of their neck. Don't worry, I'll erase all of the overlap parts I got on the horse's neck later. Then I went in and I started doing the same thing on the tail. I like to draw the mane and tail kind of simultaneously most of the time because it just makes sure that there's the same color scheme in both the mane and the tail. And if I do them separately, like even on separate days, then I'll be like, which colors did I use for the mane? And then it's a whole thing. Then I selected an even darker color from the horse's coat, more brown tone, because I think this horse's coat in the game has more of a brown color to it, which I don't really like, but I wanted to add some of that into the mane and tail. Then I created a new layer and I'm adding white on top of that. Now that we have like a good base of darker colors, I really wanted this horse's mane to be like mostly white just to brighten it up. And I really love this brush. It gives like the most wispy ends. I'm obsessed with it. I used Nova Southlight's brush Desire. Nova Southlight has some of the best hair brushes I've ever used. And then I went in with Nova Southlight's brush called Angel, still with the white color, and now I'm just adding in more details to the mane. Specifically, I'm using this brush for like the smaller areas of hair so I can add more fine details. Then I added a new layer and just added some finer details to the mane and tail to make it look more full. I'm using Nova Southlight's brush Give Me More to add in some more of those wispy details. I usually use these around the edges of the mane and tail. I turned on the black background with the braids so that I could start working on those. Just the black background helped me to be able to see the braids, basically. Kind of the same thing I did with the mane and tail. I'm going to be adding in layers of different colors. And then I changed to the Desire brush. It's one of my favorites, and continued to add details of this different colors to the braids and the mane. Then I created a new layer and put it behind the braid. I like to do this because it makes the braid stand out from the background. And then I continued filling in the braid. It's a little easier to see when the background's a little darker. And then I fixed the area around the ears because that braid didn't lay well on the horse the way I wanted it to. And finally, I erased the hair around the ears because I know that was bothering all of us. You're not alone, it was me too. I'm going in with the brush Give Me More, and I'm adding those details on the braided part of the mane now. Some extra fine details to make it look fluffy, you know what I mean? We love a fluffy braid. I switched over to the brush Gentleman, which kind of gives you like small highlight pieces of hair, and I added more details in the braid. And then I switched back over to the brush Desire, created a new layer, and I'm adding more detail into the tail because it was looking a little bit not filled in enough. It was looking thin. So I just added more fullness to the tail. Okay, now I added a new layer also behind the tail and did the same thing I did with the braids. I filled in with the airbrush behind the tail just to make it look more full. And now I'm starting to go in and add some shading. So I created a new layer, and using the same airbrush tool on a really light opacity, I just added natural shadowing where you would probably see shadowing. I'm not very good at this, so don't judge. I'm still learning how to create good shadows and highlights. Okay, then from my eye brushes pack from Ruby Discocloud, I went in and used the highlight. This is the highlighter I typically use, and I just created a little area of highlight around the areas that I think the sun would naturally touch, just to lighten up some of the mane. Okay, and the last thing I do for highlights is I love using Nova Southlight's brush Glow Up, and I just went in and I added some streaks. This brush is especially nice for adding highlights on like brown hair. I'm not super good at using it for white hair, but... And then I wanted to add some more highlighty hair pieces, so I went in with Magic Whisker and added some tiny fine pieces around the edges of the mane and tail. And I also like to use Rainy Days just to give some variety. And now I'm using Rainy Days to add glowy pieces to the braid. Okay, now I'm creating a new layer. I'm going to go in and do the eyes. I wanted to match the eyes to the sky, so I just used the color from the sky. And I went in and I'm using the eye brush pack from Ruby Discocloud again. And I used the line painting brush. And I'm just going to use that to create where I want the eye color to be. I think, is this called the iris? I don't know. And there wasn't very much iris on this horse's eye, so I created more because I wanted it to be more colorful. And then I went in with the glossy brush from the eye brush pack, and I just went over on top with like a green color. I just felt like it would look kind of mystical. And I'm going to go in and erase where I fell outside the lines, but I was just trying to get it to look good. And then I went in with the shadow eye brush from the same brushes pack, and I used a darker green color to create some shadowing, just like naturally where you might see some shadows. Then I went with the skin brush from that pack, and I just went over with the original blue color that I used for the eye base, just to give it some texture. Then I went back in with glossy with the original color, just to give it like a glowy look. Now I'm going in with the highlights brush in the color white, and I'm just doing like lines on the eye, just like the lines you have in your own eyes. I went in with that airbrush brush from Haze Long Portrait Brushes, and I just picked like a pink color. I just wanted some color in the eyes, so I added like a pink color to the eyes. I added like some yellow. And then I went in and did the eyelashes. I used the Lashes and Brows brush from the same eye brush pack from Ruby Discocloud. And I went in with a black color, and I kind of just filled in the eyelashes to make them more full. For some reason, this horse's eyelashes are white in game, and I was not interested in that. And then I kind of created like an inner wing on the eyes. The thing is, I'm not very good at doing eye makeup, but it's fun because when you're drawing, you can erase it, at least on an iPad. Okay, the last thing I did with this picture is I went in and I added the Boko brush from Ruby Discocloud's glitter brush pack. And I always use this in all my Instagram photos. I just think it's a nice thing to add to the background. And this is kind of like my thing that ties all my Instagram photos together. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this edit. Comment below if you guys want to see a Think of My Procreate folder tour. I can show you all the brushes I use and kind of explain what I use them for and where I get each of the brush packs. But hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing me edit on Procreate. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. And go give this picture a like on Instagram because I posted it today. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I'm on thin ice, you'd never guess. I've been hiding a monster, keeping it quiet, I do my best.